All right, let's turn back to the labor market here. All eyes have been on the jobs market, and recent data showing that job openings, postings for jobs, far outpacing those who are looking for employment. Monday's JOLTS report showing that the U.S. Recorded a record number of job openings, surpassing 10 million in June. One company has these details and is privy to this info. ZipRecruiter, a leading online employment marketplace, just posted some strong quarterly results as reopenings have meant jobs in certain cases. Joining me now is ZipRecruiter CEO Siegel. Ian, thanks so much for coming on the show. When we spoke actually at the time of your IPO a few months ago, you were telling me on a daily basis 9 to 10 million job openings. How has that number changed?
Well, it's just gone up. And really what we're seeing is a tale of two stories playing out in the job market right now. Amongst employers, there's a voracious appetite to open their doors and get back to normal business. But job seekers are continuing to prove reluctant, and their hesitancy previously we were tracing to a lack of a vaccine. Their kids were doing online school. There were a variety of questions around the stimulus and whether or not that was inhibiting their activity in any way. Well, all of those have been removed as variables now. And so we are, in fact, starting to slowly see job seekers return, but not at the speed with which employers are interested in making hires. And there's a lot of conjecture about whether it's the Delta variant or the summer vacation. But the reality is, I think there's been a substantial change in what job seekers are looking for. The pandemic had a lot of job seeking suppressing effects, but it also changed job seeker attitudes about what kind of work they're looking for.
So, okay, so much to get to. Let's take a step back here for a second. Tell me on a daily basis, if the numbers have gone up on a daily basis, how many job openings are available on your site? Is it more than 10 million?
It's slightly more than 10 million. And if you look at the BLS data, we've got 40% more open jobs, according to the BLS, than we did pre-pandemic. And not only do we have these open jobs, but employers are casting the widest net possible. They're lowering the requirements for these jobs, removing the need for a college education or 5+ years of experience. There's a doubling in the number of jobs that say no experience required.
Interesting. Now, talk to me about what skills are in demand. We know the leisure and hospitality sector, the hardest hit during this pandemic, still has millions of jobs that it's looking to recoup. Is that where most of the job openings are, or do you see other skills, for instance, that are in high demand that are hard to fill?
Yeah, it really doesn't matter right now whether you're a driver, a waitress, an engineer. Every job category at every level is hiring. However, the hottest categories, the ones that are hiring absolutely the most people right now, are definitely in services, which is going to be things like laundry and nail salons. It's going to be in retail. It's going to be hospitality and leisure, manufacturing, education. These are the hot, white hot categories because they're basically staffing back up. They were the hardest hit by COVID, and effectively doors are back open.
And I know it's benefited your company, the stock hitting record high in today's session since your debut in late May when we spoke to you on the day of the debut. So clearly a good time for your company to tap these capital markets. I would be curious, Ian, just in terms of the work trends that we see going on, a new topic that's starting to emerge is, does it make sense with some of these employers bringing down the requirements for jobs? Does it make sense to pay all that money to go to grad school, to get an MBA, to get a law degree, if the money, for instance, isn't there and you might be able to find easy work elsewhere? Is it worth it, do you think?
Well, that is a big question you just asked. And consistently through last year, when you look at the data, what it says is if you get a college degree, you get paid more. Period. End of story. Now, different college degrees are going to bring different levels of value, and there's a lot of fine slicing that needs to be done there. But it is a very interesting job market right now because there's no longer just blue collar and white collar jobs. There's this thing called new collar jobs, which are single skill opportunities. If you know how to operate a single software, or if you are a welder, or if you just know how to drive a car, there is an abundance of jobs that are open to you. Those are the new collar jobs, single skill jobs.
Talk to me then about your earnings and your business model. Ian, how is this benefiting you, and do you expect that this will continue to be a boon to your bottom line?
Well, definitely ZipRecruiter experienced what I can only call as a super spike in business as a result of this sort of grand reopening that's been happening nationwide. We had 100+% year over year growth this year. We raised guidance on the year pretty significantly. We think that this is going to persist through the back half of the year, although we are going to see a slow return to what I'd call a normal job market behavior. This is not going to be forever that you can do 40% quarter over quarter growth in terms of the number of customers on your platform.
Ian, I think we got to leave it there. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on and talk about this important topic. That's ZipRecruiter CEO Ian Siegel.